All right, Spider-Man movie. Starts off with this Danny Elfman theme. What do we think of the theme of this movie?
I like it a lot.
I don't remember it.
It starts off with a...
Oh, I liked the credits. I liked the way they looked, and I liked the music, so I just can't... But I can't immediately... Like, there's not like a Spider-Man song that's jumping out at me.
That's the thing. Like, I like it, but it doesn't... It's not iconic in the way that his Batman theme is.
Right.
And...
I don't feel like, oh, Spider-Man's coming.
Yeah, I don't even know. I don't... Like, what are even the iconic super... It's only... The Avengers have the only really iconic theme of the past 20 years that I can even think of.
Oh. Well, I mean, then you think of like Guardians of the Galaxy, and their theme is having pop songs. Yeah. So,
but they do have a theme. You just don't remember it. It's like, the thing that plays while they go into action.
And I feel like all the Spider-Man movies lean heavily on the fact that there's already that little cutesy song that they weave into the movie somehow in every single series.
Mm-hmm.
Then whatever. Like this time they had a homeless person singing it or something, or like a
busker.
Fuck's a busker?
That's a person who sings on a subway platform. A busker. That's what it's called.
Made up. All right.
All words are made up.
Shut up.
All right. Well, you see, this opening credits, they're fun. Plus, you see this cast and you know you're in for a good time.
It's a good cast right there.
So, Tobey Maguire's narration. Who am I? If somebody told you I was an ordinary guy, somebody lied.
I've got glasses.
This story, like any story worth telling, is all about a girl. I wrote in my notes to make a list of stories that aren't about a girl, but I forgot to do that.
Contrarian.
Plus,
what about a boy? Huh?
Exactly. There you go.
No, I mean that's the name of a movie.
Yes, I know.
Oh, fun.
About a boy, also a book by Nick Hornby. And he's saying this story is all about a girl, as we see 32-year-old Kirsten Dunst as a girl.
She's like impossibly made. Her dimensions don't make sense. She's stacked and then disappears and then stacks again.
So, I mean, right away, what do we think of Tobey Maguire in this movie?
I'm buying what he seems a little creepy, honestly, like the lingering staring and stuff that he does kind of all the time, but he grows on me. He feels like no one I've ever met at school. I mean, he's too good looking to be this lame.
Mm-hmm.
So there's always if you've got movie star good looks, I'm not going to totally buy your nerd thing. Also, you're friends with fucking Franco? He's hot as shit.
Yeah, their friendship is a little confusing.
Yeah. Oh, but he's rich. Gross. We hate rich people here in America.
I know. Yes,
Sick.
That's how it works.
You made me come up here in the roles. Damn it.
Let's make fun of the rich person.
Oh, Tobey Maguire for me is actually one of the reasons I dislike this trilogy. And it's because I think his acting feels like a brick wall. He does not feel like he's he has much emotion at all in his voice in any of these three films.
Yeah, I don't agree with that. Like, I don't love him, but there's things that he can do as Peter Parker that I really, really like. And I think that Lacey finds him creepy. I think that it's just off-putting to see somebody who's so earnest and sincere.
Yeah.
And I think he's really good with Kirsten Dunst. And in the scene where they have their conversation by the garbage cans.
Yes.
And she's like really sees him for the first time. And to her, it's like, I've never met somebody who is just like so sincere, so earnest. And he's good at that. And suddenly it's like that kind of becomes attractive. And he even says like, I hunch I could carry myself like the attractive person I am if I thought of myself a little differently. I think I buy that part of it. And I buy his being down on himself in this and the next
Anyone
movie.
without parents would have earned that without even needing to know what happened to them. I'm buying his personality. I buy him getting bullied the way he does in school. That's the part where I'm like, come on, but it's fine. It works. This is a comic. That's something I love about this movie is it feels like it's just straight out of a cartoon. Like it feels silly in like really good ways, and like it's earnest and it's like I don't know how to explain it. It's like, oh, this is going to be a bad guy. Let's make him real bad. Ooh, he's so bad.
It's heightened. It's operatic.
Yes, and I like those choices. Yeah.
I like that too.
So the bully has to be. Yeah. All right. Fine.
Yeah. Everything is very, very broad. It's not a subtle story or movie at all. I love that.
I definitely like that too. I've always when it comes to superhero movies, I want them to be just as ridiculous as the comics. I want the villains to be that classic mustache twirling.
Yes,
he's evil,
deliciously evil.
Yeah, and Dafoe understands the assignment.
Yes, he does, and he might have even made it okay for everyone else to do the same. Like, don't worry, I've got this.
There's one thing I don't like about his Green Goblin in this, but I digress for now.
So Peter Parker, his life is terrible. He's trying his best. The bus is leaving just because everyone hates him, and even the bus driver's like, look at that dork. Fuck that kid. And Mary Jane has to tell him, please stop. Look, he's going to die.
He can't see without his glasses.
He gets on the bus. Everyone's laughing at him. Seat's taken. And this is just his life. But yet still an optimist. Arrives to the field trip, thinks MJ is waving at him, and then finds out, no, she's waving at some friends.
It happens more than once. It's so uncomfortable. He seems like in a world of his own. That's what's introspective. He has these long thoughts, but it results in him having these long stares while other people are watching. And so it's relatable, it's real, but it's what makes me uneasy as well.
Yeah. Well, there is something off-putting about Tobey Maguire. And I think things we've learned about him in real life is like, oh, maybe that's just who you are.
Wait, what did he do?
It just seems like he's like a mean guy.
He's mean?
He's mean.
You know that's my least favorite thing.
Is when someone's mean.
Oh, I hate that. He's not even an old man. He's not even Tommy Lee Jones age yet. You can't be mean yet.
I agree. You need to wait until you need some crags to be mean.
Yeah.
So, and then Harry Osborn, James Franco, also not a good guy in real life, pulls up with Willem Dafoe. Now, why is he being dropped off at the field trip? This wasn't allowed when I was in school.
He missed the bus. He won't ride the bus. It dirties his pants.
Yeah, but I feel like it would be a scandal if your parents just dropped you directly off at the field trip.
A scandal to the teachers?
Yeah.
What?
I don't know.
He funds the school. The library's named after him.
No, that's a good point. That's a good point.
I made that up.
So Mr. Osborn, Willem Dafoe, gets out of the car and is now meeting Peter Parker for the first time. And I think right here is my first script doctor thing. I think an issue with this movie is that the relationships these characters have with each other is a little off. I feel like they should already know each other.
Right.
And it's like the classic little sort of relationship would be Norman Osborn really likes Peter Parker and Harry is jealous of that.
And that's where I think they think they're going.
Yes.
But it doesn't ever get there.
And the reason I'm saying this is because at the end of the movie, when they have their confrontation and the Green Goblin reveals, I'm Norman Osborn, I've been like a father to you. You wish that in the movie you just watched, that could seem like it was true. But in reality, they barely know each other. And I think that's an issue. Like their actual relationship should be deeper.
Yeah.
Than just guy who meets his friend's dad twice.
Well, and it's confusing how long have they even been friends?
Right.
This guy still seems kind of new and embarrassed socially for being wealthy, but it's and they even say you wouldn't have to go if you hadn't been kicked out of every other prep school. So it makes it seem like this is his first year. They don't actually know each other that well.
Yeah.
But then they have lines later in the film where Harry has known that Peter liked MJ since 4th grade.
Yeah.
That's probably just from from him talking about MJ the way that he does and I mean, you can't be his friend without noticing how obsessive he is over
Yes,
her.
but Franco delivers it in a way like, we've all been together since the fourth grade. So that's it. This is just like a really simple like screenplay error. Like, and we just need like one more scene to get a sense of how these people relate to each other.
Well, also you're telling me that he's been kicked out of every prep school, and I'm so now I'm expecting some kind of bad boy. He couldn't be more of a little rule follower.
I know.
Why was he kicked out?
Because he talked during presentations, I guess.
Well, right. Shut up. This library lady's telling you about arachnids. Zip it.
So they go into the science museum or whatever and look at telescopes and shit. And a lot of people on the internet have had fun with this teacher's delivery of "I kid you not." He's like, "Or you will get detention. I kid you not."
Mr. Potter.
The next person who talks will fail this course. I kid you not.
But basically, there's 15 spiders, and one of them's missing. I love how simple this is. Just go look at the spiders. A spider's missing, and it bites him.
Confident that Mary Jane is about. There's 14, bitch. You work here. I just got here. There's 14.
Yeah.
All right. Super counter.
I also wondered though. This is this is a museum that they're on a field trip to.
Mm-hmm.
Why are these lab spiders at the museum?
It seems to be like a science museum, or
it's a museum / laboratory / aquarium.
Well, because museums get funding for things, right? So maybe that's a normal place to have a project that's got to do with. I'm not defending this museum for you. I don't know.
I don't know. So I don't know. This movie, it's just trucking along. This is like 10 minutes in, he gets bitten by the spider. Then we go check in with Norman Osborn at Oscorp, where he's making weapons for the Defense Department, which, by the way, means he's already a supervillain even before he turns into the Green Goblin. Like, you're already one of the worst men in the world. The Defense Department needs things like a glider to go fly into Afghanistan to blow up weddings. But their evil weapons program is making the rats insane. So unless they can fix it in 2 weeks, the government's giving their business to someone else. And the general says to Willem Dafoe, he's like, if in 2 weeks we're not impressed, we'll pull your funding. That's the exact same thing that happens in Jurassic Park, which was also written by David Koepp. Same guy wrote basically
David.
In 2 weeks. Yeah. If they're not impressed, we're not impressed. We'll shut you down, John. All right, then we meet Uncle Ben and Aunt May.
They are. I'm not used to seeing just normal old people. I mean, Aunt May is a little bit prettier than your typical older lady, but goddamn, if that uncle isn't the most believable uncle I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
Even the way he talks and let there be light, you just know that motherfucker says that every goddamn time he changes a light bulb or turns on the switch in the kitchen. They're precious. They're adorable. They have a very believable, sweet relationship. And I don't think they ever show Peter being a nice boy. I don't like that he's not.
There's like one scene where he wakes up the next morning and now he's Spider-Man and he's happy and they're like, "Oh, hey, Michelangelo." And he's like, "I feel great."
Yeah, but hug him, say hi, say bye.
I know,
eat the food.
They're the nicest people in the world.
They're the sweetie. They're sweet. They didn't have to take you in, you fuck.
In the Spider-Man comics, like, Aunt May looks like the oldest person who has ever lived. So it is, I like that they have these two old bags, Rosemary Harris and Cliff Robertson. Rosemary Harris was nominated for an Oscar for this performance.
Oh, wow, that's
Isn't
fucking
that
cool.
nice?
Yeah.
But every iteration of Spider-Man, they make them younger. So now it's Marissa Tomei. She's
Right.
she's 46 years old and she's a babe.
Right.
It's my old aunt.
And she knows everything about fucking carburetors.
But it's not like a class consciousness. I think that Sam Raimi does a good job of showing it in this movie and contrasting it with the previous scene you just saw of Norman Osborn work, where the government's paying him hundreds of millions of dollars to make weapons, to this next scene where Peter's uncle just got laid off by the power company he's worked for 50 years. And he says the company's downsizing the people and upsizing the profits. It's like, hey, get used to that, America. And they live in Queens. They live in this kind of small house that they probably has been in their family for 50 years. And they're probably fucked by him not having his job anymore.
He also seems definitely too old to work. He shouldn't be looking for another job.
Yes, I have to work until I die.
Right. Green Goblin up that green money.
But yeah, he's just upstairs in his bedroom spidering out. because things are happening to his body.
This makes sense. All right. Well, 2 weeks to run it on humans. I'll do it. I care about not going out of business and not making lots of money, but I don't care if I die, says him. What's his name again?
Norman.
He's totally normal too. Norman has just the most healthy relationship with his lab partner, and bullies him into putting him in a tube and electrocuting him while naked. And then he comes out dead. And so the nice man resuscitates him only to then be killed by Willem Dafoe.
Who's back to formula.
Who now has a split personality. And I don't know that the movie does a great job of telling you that the other version of Norman isn't totally himself. It's a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde kind of thing going on. But I think it takes a few back and forth before you realize that. It just kind of seems like bad guy pretending to be nice in between being mean.
I agree. I think that's another issue with the movie.
That was something as I was watching it last night, and I was thinking, I was like, they want you to think if he doesn't have this the goblin in him that he could possibly be a good father, but that's not what they actually show in the film.
No.
He's a bad father either way. He's a bad person either way.
Well, and he's just completely disconnected. And just the things that his son is worried about, the dress that she's wearing, like what things seem low, that she can't even say she's a waitress to him. Like these class things that they care about are so fucking off-putting, so disgusting. So like he's a bad person who raised a bad person, whether he turns into a fucking goblin or not.
You're right. Yeah, these things would be present without him turning into the Green Goblin.
Yeah, these are already baked in.
Like he's already afraid. Like his dad won't approve of this new girlfriend and wants her to look perfect for him. And then he even says, like, when you're done getting your use out of her, you broom her. Broom her.
Fuck?
Sweep her out with the garbage.
It's sad to me that when I heard that line last night watching the film, I was like, wow, this feels like James Franco in real life.
And he probably says broom her.
Fucking broomer.
And James Franco, like, I don't think he's particularly bad, but he's an actor who, even setting aside who he is personally, he has some good performances, but otherwise he always seems very, very lazy to me on screen.
Like he's just relying on his looks.
Yeah, just kind of coasting, and I don't think he has any handle on who Harry Osborn is at all. So that's another thing. Another issue.
Franco always bothers you. He's neither here nor there to me. I'm not like going to a movie because he's there, but he doesn't bother me.
The only time in my life where I was like I want to see something that James Franco is in was when he was always doing stuff with Seth Rogen.
Yep.
Because
Pineapple
they had
Express.
such a great chemistry with each other.
Yes. Yeah. Then I saw like he has a thing. Before then, he's just kind of like wallpaper.
Mm-hmm.
Sexy
Yes, works better in comedies, definitely.
And works better when he's goofy, not some fucking like suave guy. You have to play against what is already going for you for it to be funny.
But he was positioned as one of these next great leading men just because of the way he looked.
That's funny.
And he's like he's a serious tortured soul.
Is he?
That's how he presented himself.
To who?
To the Hollywood. I don't know.
Hi, Hollywood.
And he personally idolized James Dean and looks kind of like James Dean and carries himself like James Dean.
But has he done like big serious roles to show off this torture shit? Does he write with a tiny pencil? Is he wet?
Oh yeah, he's all of those things.
All
and he's
right.
gotten some Oscar nominations. He's got 127 Hours where he cuts his arm off, etc. What else did he do?
No, thank you.
I don't know. Anyway, next morning, Peter wakes up and he's feeling sort of strange, but he's bulked up. And his eyes work, and his dick's grown a little.
Yeah, it's probably a lot, if I had to imagine.
Big change, he says. But, and this was a neat little trick. Like, they literally had Tobey Maguire bulk up, so they filmed the early scenes and then let him go work out his body, using maybe some assistance.
Maybe.
Some chemical assistance, and then just actual people who work for him and tell him what to do. But he in contrast to superheroes today, you could reasonably understand somebody looking like this, not like the Adonises
right.
who are in movies today. But then he like every day he has to run to catch up with the bus, but this time he runs really fast. Oh, and he sticks his hand to the side of the bus and things are all weird.
I don't need the up close fucking view of what happens to a spider whenever it sticks to shit. Blah.
That's coming later.
I know, Matt, but now I know it happens.
And these things are happening parallel to each other. Peter's spidering out and Norman is goblining out. And but he wakes up on the floor confused. He's told Dr.
Who
Strom has
does?
been Norman.
You haven't said that.
Yes, I did.
Whatever.
He wakes up on the floor, he's told Dr. Strom has been murdered and the glider has been stolen.
Not the glider.
And then back at school, we have that scene Lacey described where MJ asks Peter a question and he's just so too dumbfounded to answer. So he just like smiles.
Well, even when he's taking her picture in the museum, which is totally working for her, he is just those long stares in between clicking of the camera. Just, yeah, that's great.
You're gorgeous.
Yeah, no, I can't imagining about a picture of you. It's just, blink, fucking blink.
He has the fight with Flash, and
His name is Flash.
Flash
He's not
Thompson.
even a superhero. His name is Flash.
You know, Peter's now using his newfound abilities to dodge him and then eventually punch him, and he soars through the air. And what I love is the way everybody reacts is like, Peter Parker, you're a fucking freak. Like, instead of being impressed, everybody's like, look at this weirdo.
You did that like a poor person. Gross.
Because he just can't win. Even when he does something cool, it makes things worse for him. And so then he goes out into the world and he's trying to understand his powers. And his little things come out that Lacey doesn't like to see how he can stick to the side of a building. He's climbing up the building and then he's jumping around. And I just like that we get some time to just experience his joy of understanding what he can do now and figuring it all out as he goes.
And I like that. I think that is an effective setup scene in the museum where you see the spider pulling up something huge, and they explain this spider can pull 8 times its own weight or whatever. It's and like each spider can do something amazing, and then this yes. I just appreciate this is one of those superheroes, and I guess kind of all of them have this trouble where small things seem to affect him physically when they need to, and he can do impossibly huge things out of nowhere. So it's just like it's hard to really understand how strong is Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I feel like they play with that a lot.
And another thing I think they do really well is use New York City in these early scenes in Queens. You feel like you're actually in Queens, and they do some smart location photography. Most of the movie isn't shot in New York, but they make do with what they have, and he's swinging or jumping around these Queens rooftops. And I love him trying to figure out his webs. And
this is okay. So now we kind of starting to understand where's Mary Jane coming from? What kind of person is she? I think they're a little over the top, or maybe don't totally understand what a person getting this kind of abuse from their father would actually be like. But, we just hear disgusting misogyny and meanness being shouted out at her in her kitchen, and she comes outside for fresh air. This is the second time we've seen seems like a drunk father completely verbally abusing his daughter as she walks out the door. So, she's just like, I just need some air. But she's so chill. Like, she's not crying. She's not emo. She's just like, how are you today, Peter? It's just, she's just delightfully pleasant enough.
No, the first thing she says, she seems pretty upset. She's like, did you hear that?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I don't know. I don't know that I'm buying this as her background, but I'm glad she's just a normal kid.
I think, though, I was trying to understand is that with a lot of people who had abuse in their house, they grew to hide it when they're around other people.
Yeah.
So she inside might be feeling awful, but she's not gonna show that to him. Yeah,
for sure. And then she's very attractive, so I only know what it's like to be an abused person who was not attractive in school. So I express that through being very goth, and I guess she just kind of signals as like so typical the way that she looks that you don't expect the horror show that is her actual life. But anyway, it does a lot to ground her and make her very, I don't know. She's down to earth and she's got a kind heart and she doesn't seem to care about popularity and stuff. She has a soft spot for Peter and you can tell that she does from the very beginning of the movie. And they have a very sweet conversation. Then she gets picked up by Flash, who's got a new car, babe. And she's like, oh my God, your car. So that's what happens at the end of that.
This is the scene where, he's like, he says he wants to move to the city and become a photographer. She wants to go to the city to be an actress. And he's like, that's great. You were so good as Cinderella in first grade. And so she realizes like, boy, you know a lot about me, don't you? You've always been there. But this is the first time she's really seeing him.
Which is crazy. That part's confusing too. Like they seem close. They seem to have a soft spot for each other, know things about each other, but they're just now developing a relationship.
No, I think he knows things about her and she's just never noticed him or never given him any serious thought. But now that she sees a little bit of his personality and sees how earnest and sincere he is, and I think that this is a thing that the older you get, the more somebody who is just optimistic and non-irony poisoned, that can seem really attractive. And suddenly she's like, huh, Peter Parker. Okay.
Somebody's taller.
You're a diamond in the rough that I never noticed. But now I'm going to pay a little closer attention.
And conveniently located.
Well, yeah, that's a good ETA, as my dad would say.
And it probably helped that after the spider bite, he got more attractive.
Right.
Well, that too.
She can sense his bigger dick.
Something's different about you. That you know what? That is an excellent point.
You kind of stand like you've got a big dick right now.
Yeah, this is that. Yes, I'm sensing a vibe shift in you, Peter,
and a pants shift. You're leaning. You're situated to the left today.
But to impress her, he needs a car too.
He needs a $3,000 car and then finds an ad to get $3,000 if you are in. It's like, this doesn't exist. You can't just go wrestle. But of course, it's kind of a scam. It's just this very popular local wrestling event that I guess happens every single night with this local hero of a wild and crazy weirdo, Bonesaw.
Little indie wrestling federation. It's thriving.
Would it be this popular?
It's not that popular. There's
a lot of fucking people
No, there's
there.
like 200 people there.
They can afford $3,000 to somebody that gets in there and lasts. I'm sure it's rigged.
Like you just said, it's rigged. They don't intend to pay anybody.
Well, he needs $3,000.
But also, I imagine those 200 people are spending a lot to be there.
Yeah, and there are thriving little indie federations, but in the big city, in Los Angeles and New York, where you have 20 million people and 200 of them are fans of this thing, but they're huge fans. And they show up and Peter, well, wait, first he's like brainstorming. He needs a wrestling costume. And he's like a graphic design prodigy, I guess.
Yes, beautiful illustrations. And he comes up with something that looks really cool on paper. And then the big reveal, of course, is like, well, this is what I could get from fucking Target.
Yes,
so.
which I've seen this movie so many times. I only just realized like they're setting you up to think that when they reveal him, he's gonna be in the iconic Spider-Man costume.
It still doesn't make sense how he got that fucking. You know the fucking technology you would need to make that kind of costume ever.
Okay.
All right, fine. I'm just saying if he would have waited till after this movie was out, he would have been able to get a costume for Spider-Man.
You're right.
Like
he
the rest of
just
us,
done
he should have
that.
just waited until the merchandising happened.
Uncle Ben takes her to the wrestling match.
Right. God, this is hard. I mean, that the way Uncle Ben dies is rough. Like it's almost like too sad and too much his fault. He didn't ask for a ride to the city, but Uncle Ben insisted, and then he drops him off and they exchange words and it's not nice. But then Uncle Ben says, well, I'll be back here at 10 to pick you up. And it's like, just let him take the train, Uncle Ben. Should you be out here that late? Anyway, he goes into this cage match and...
Well, wait.
What? Matt, you just do it.
Okay, but this is the key to everything.
Use it.
Is
Use
there
the key.
exchange?
Then why isn't there a fucking slide of Uncle Ben here?
So Cliff Robertson, who is so good in basically this one scene performance, when he says like, "Hey, I know you're going through some stuff, and you're a very talented person, and with great power comes great responsibility, which is always the key.
Right.
The key line to Spider-Man,
Yes,
to Peter
it is.
Parker.
Yes, the key.
And Peter is a little piece of shit, and he's like, "Stop lecturing me. You're not my father."
Oh, yes, he is.
Or actually, no. Uncle Ben says, "I don't mean to lecture you. I know I'm not your father." And then Peter's like, "Well, stop trying to be." And you could see it wash over Uncle Ben's face that he's
Right.
hurt, and then he puts himself together, and he's like, "Okay, yes."
Right.
And that's it. That's the last time they ever see each other, basically. And it's just a great, just no dialogue performance. You see it all right there on his face.
Yeah, it's a great face acting. So I don't exactly remember what he does to win this money, but I guess Bonesaw's never actually been hit before because he knocks him out pretty easy. Then he goes to collect the money and finds out he's only getting $100. Then some guy comes behind him and he's pissed. He's pissed at the wrestling person, the organizer. Somebody comes and steals all the money from that guy, and Spider-Man could have stopped him, but he's like, yeah, fuck that guy, take his money, and lets him into the elevator, and that robber goes on goes on down the elevator, and then he goes outside to meet his uncle, and there's a crowd, and somebody's hurt, and he just needs to see who it is, and it's his uncle. His uncle's been shot, and I realized right away who shot him, but it takes him a while. Mm-hmm. I'm smarter than you, Peter.
The wrestling
guy
promoter
you let go by.
The wrestling promoter's like, "Why'd you let him go, kid? You could have stopped that guy." Like, what? You're a New Yorker. Aren't you supposed to know? Like, no, I'm not getting involved in something like
gun.
this. Yes,
That guy's a fucking gun, and
That guy
who are
doesn't-
you to me?
that guy doesn't know I'm Spider-Man.
Right.
But also, if I was just screwed over by the this wrestling place, I'm not going to stop a guy from screwing them over.
No, exactly. But even if you hadn't been screwed over, don't fucking take a bullet for some cash.
Yeah, no.
Okay, but wait, we need to backtrack. Okay, we skipped past two important things. One, Bruce Campbell as the announcer, Sam Raimi's evil dead friend is a cameo as the announcer who comes up with the name Spider-Man. And then the best to ever do it, the best of all time, Macho Man Randy Savage as Bonesaw McGraw, and just a delicious performance. Bonesaw is ready.
Okay.
And I just love how angry he gets when Peter jumps up to the top of the cage. He's like, "What are you doing up there?" So that's all.
Okay.
Hey, freak show.
And
You
they
going
really
nowhere.
make you want to root for Bonesaw because of the fact that Peter says a homophobic joke at him.
Well, yeah. I was on Bonesaw's side. He's like, "Did your husband make that dress for you?" But
There's no dress.
He knows just what to say to get under Bonesaw's skin.
Are we not going to say the part where the person that shot and killed the uncle is the guy
That's right.
the guy that got, but that Spider-Man let down the elevator? It was that guy. So Spider-Man very much feels Spider-Man. I just keep calling him that. Peter Parker very much feels responsible, as he should. But I'm pissed at him because, like, your Aunt May is about to get a horrible fucking phone call. You can't do anything about your uncle right now. You can go home. You could go home so she knows that you're okay, and so that you can comfort her. She was very much in love with that man, and you just like fucking take your goddamn time. You're an asshole.
I know. When he eventually does get home, it's a
sweet scene.
It's a sweet scene
But
that
she's
you
very
see without dialogue. But
she's very forgiving and just relieved that he's okay. But it's just grow up, Peter.
well, he's a dumb kid. Well, we do have the
A dumb 30-year-old kid.
Yeah, you're dumb 30. As I always say now on the show, I've grown to the point where I like when 30-year-olds play teenagers because I can relate to them more.
Yeah.
Because when I see real teenagers, they look too young to me.
I also like that when 30-year-olds play teenagers, but more for me, it's because then there's no abuse happening to actual children on set.
Yes. So good. Such a good point.
Yeah, I mean,
Also, there's a part of me that is like, even if there is no abuse happening on set, there's a part of me that kind of dislikes the idea of child actors in general.
100%.
That's child labor.
Well, and they have no protection, all the power, sometimes making the income for their entire family. They don't feel like they can say no to things. They don't want to fuck things up. When you think about it for just a few minutes, you're like, this is exactly how you get to abuse children, is have them be actors.
the best solution I've heard is you're allowed to do one movie. That's it. You can,
What?
as a child actor, you're allowed to work in one movie and then your career is over.
How's that a solution?
Because then it isn't systematic. Then your family doesn't relying on you for income. I don't know. It's a conundrum because I don't want AI children actors.
Right.
In the same way that I don't want CGI animals. Like movies are better when you use animals, but it's not great for the animals that you have animals on screen. I don't know. Well, no, I do know. We just need fucking labor.
Chaperones.
We need fucking labor laws that have teeth in this country. That's the solution to everything. We need fucking labor unions.
I'm talking about like a dedicated chaperone that is like unbiased, like a court appointed like fucking caseworker. Like you might be able to bully a parent out of the room and then abuse this child actor, but if you're assigned through some kind of law that they get a chaperone, that chaperone knows they don't have to go anywhere.
There you go.
Fixed it.
The way that you get to having a chaperone is you have a muscular labor union advocating for the rights of the workers.
Yeah.
For the first time in the movie, we have Spider-Man figuring out how to swing between the buildings. And this was like, I don't think the CGI has aged very well, but I think it's imagined well. Like it
Doesn't bother me.
It's like the way it's rendered is not great, but the motion is good. And it is still thrilling to just watch him swinging from between the buildings. And for some reason, like the Spider-Man movies since the Garfield and the Holland movies have kind of de-emphasized this part of Spider-Man of swinging around the tall buildings. It's definitely true with Tom Holland.
The spider. Oh, I'm sorry. I was thinking the Spider-Verse, which is just a ton of it.
Yeah.
It's like all he does.
Which, you know, I think in 2002, that was the big thrill of the movie, was seeing this happen and feeling like you're there swinging with him.
That's one thing that I love so much in superhero movies is just seeing them, like how they move around, like whether it's this or like with the 2003 Hawk film. I love how they show just these scenes of him jumping through the desert. There's just something so fun to me seeing this fun way of moving around.
Yeah, I love that part of the Ang Lee Hulk movie. Yeah, where he's just, you can see you get a real sense of scale with him out in the desert and how far he's able to move, how high he's able to jump. It's just like the spectacle. The spectacle, I feel like, has kind of gone away from superhero movies, and partially it's just because there's so many of them. How many times can you keep going to the spectacle? Well, all right. Peter is graduating from high school, and Harry's like, "Good news, Pete. My father's got us the apartment, so we're all set for the fall." And MJ breaks up with Flash, and Harry Osborn sees that, and he's intrigued. And then there's a very sweet scene between Peter and Aunt May, and he says, like, "I really missed Uncle Ben," but she's like, "You know, he's here with us today, and he loved you so much, and he knew that you were meant for great things." And this is basically the scene where he realizes what Uncle Ben meant with great power comes great responsibility. I owe it. I can live up to my uncle's vision of who I'm going to be by using my spider powers for good.
It's interesting you find that sweet when I find it manipulative, but I mean, it is. I get why it's sweet,
Aunt
but
May is manipulating him?
I don't think she means. I think she's being very colloquial, normal things to say. Very, very. Just saying things like that, like, "Hey, I know you're really close to this only father figure you've ever had, but don't worry. As long as you do something great, you will have not disappointed him. Also, you're the reason he's dead. Bye-bye." She
doesn't say that.
That is what is implied.
What?
Yes, it's like you would not be doing your uncle any honor if you don't live up to what is great. What the fuck does great even mean?
Because you can define great be a happy person, be a good person.
She doesn't say that.
Okay, but that's what it means. And
you
no,
don't know that.
the way we honor our dead is to live our best lives.
So he's not allowed to make mistakes. He can't go into debt. He can't try drugs.
Don't go into debt.
He can't have a
that's
divorce.
The only thing you can't do.
He can't have a divorce. He can't get in a car wreck. He can't fucking file his taxes.
Okay,
late.
Nobody ever tell anyone else to be good person, because that's hard. It's hard. You're putting unreasonable expectations on me to tell me to be good.
Well, it's like, hey, I know you're really sad, and this big huge moment where the person you love is not here because he's dead, but don't worry, just be great.
your uncle made you the man you are. He instilled in you these values. Just because you had a shitty interaction with him right before he died, it doesn't matter, because for the most part, you guys had a great relationship. And the man he made, the values he instilled with you are why I'm confident that however you turn out, it's going to be good, and he would have been proud of you.
And every time you're mean or you're having a bad fucking day and you're shading me, I'm going to say, that's not what your uncle made you.
Okay.
Manipulator.
Okay, nobody ever tell anybody anything.
That's all I'm asking.
Now we see him in his real costume, and he's interacting with the people of New York. And Patrick Willems on YouTube has a great video about Sam Raimi is so good at using the people of New York as characters in his movies. You get to view Spider-Man from the point of view of ordinary New Yorkers. So you get the montage of interviewing the people on the street, like Lucy Lawless right here is making a cameo, because Sam Raimi produced the Xena show. And she's like, guy with 8 hands, sounds hot. And finally, we meet the MVP of the movie, J.K. Simmons, as J. Jonah Jameson.
He can do no wrong.
Yes. The only character that the MCU is like, can we just bring that actor back? Like, why? Like, he is J. Jonah Jameson. It's insane. It's pointless to recast him. But I also love the supporting staff. You have Bill Nunn, Elizabeth Banks, and Ted Raimi, Sam's brother. And he finds out that Spider-Man sells papers, but they need to get photos of him. But how are they going to do that? And then Peter runs into MJ. She's working at a diner, and he's like, that's nothing to be ashamed of, et cetera, et cetera. And he gets the idea to be Spider-Man's photographer.
Wait. Okay, that's also where he finds out that she's dating James Franco, and that she can't tell him that she works at a diner, because then he'd think little of her. So we learn a lot.
Yeah,
okay?
Harry sucks.
He's an ass.
Harry sucks. Also, he could easily just be funding her dreams of being an actor.
Right. He bought her that black dress. Why not buy her an audition?
I don't think she would probably accept it if he actually was like, I will pay for everything for you to be an actor. I don't think she's the kind of person who would be just okay with the getting all that handout.
And for the strings, she wouldn't want to be beholden to him.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I agree.
Of course, in real life, the only way you can be an actor is if you have a rich family, because that's the only way you can afford to
fail over and over and over.
To not get paid, to take unpaid roles.
Yeah.
And then just to have the connections to get the auditions. Okay, so as Peter set up this new scheme, I will take photographs of myself as Spider-Man. And so he goes to meet J. Jonah Jameson, who hates Spider-Man, which is great. And the thing everybody says about J. Jonah Jameson is everybody loves Spider-Man and hates Peter Parker, except J. Jonah Jameson, who hates Spider-Man, but secretly loves Peter Parker.
Aww.
Even if he's mean to him, as we see when the Goblin comes and attacks him, he refuses to give up Peter Parker. But right here,
I don't think J. Jonah Jameson actually does hate Spider-Man, and I think it is all a facade. I think he cares both about Peter Parker and Spider-Man, and he does believe Spider-Man is a hero, as we see in one of the other two Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies, when J. Jonah Jameson thought Spider-Man died, he was immediately saying he was a hero.
Yes, but I think he's like
trying to sell papers.
He's MSNBC and Spider-Man is Donald Trump, or he's the Democrats and Spider-Man is Trump. He's like, I pretend that I hate you, but I need you so bad. I need you to be my foil. That's how I'm going to sell papers.
Well, I need the most salacious version of you.
Yeah.
You're just a friendly, jovial, wonderful guy. Yeah, I'm going to sell a paper or two, but if I can get people mad at you, well, then I'm going to sell all my papers.
Exactly. Yes. If Donald Trump went away, who would watch MSNBC? They're so happy about the results of the election. The Trump presidency was their golden era. So the World Unity Festival. Tell us about it, Lacey.
I wish I could. I don't understand what I'm looking at. It just looks like a Macy's Day Parade to me. It's just a reason to have a lot of people in the streets.
It's November, so it might as well be.
Right. And they're just repurposing it.
That's
probably
literally what it is. Okay. They just don't have the rights to say Macy's Day Parade.
Well, you're
the
welcome.
World Unity Festival.
Okay. So everyone dressed as a culturally inappropriate person.
Oh.
MJ, you want to wear that outfit? Okay. You should have wore the black dress. He got you. Yeah, it's just an excuse to have a lot of people in a place so we can see the Green Goblin come and cause some mischief.
And then Spider-Man stops him. He's like, Spider-Man, goddamn you, I hate you.
But
we'll meet again, Spider-Man.
I'm also strangely aroused. Did you recently grow your dick?
Yeah.
All right.
And then this is the first time Spider-Man saves Mary Jane. And swings really, really far away. Like she's going to have to take a train to get back to the...
Yeah.
He wanted to get her outside of it because we don't know if Green Goblin's coming back. I think it was smart.
Okay.
She's got fare.
Oh.
She can get home.
This is where we really get our first good look at Green Goblin in the suit. And the suit is where I dislike
You don't like his marathon bike helmet?
Yeah, the particularly is the helmet
It's
that I hate.
crazy.
It is because he can't move. And I'm like, how am I supposed to think you're threatening while you wear that?
Right.
Yeah, and they have the thing like where you can see his eyes, and sometimes he'll pull up like
mesh.
the face visor so you can see his mouth. And Sam Raimi said he realized once he was filming, like, this is going to be trouble because you can't see Tobey Maguire's face, and you can't see Willem Dafoe's face. So it's like they're not even acting.
There's a scene where they could just be like party helpers. Like they're literally just sitting, kind of just casually sitting next to each other and having the most menacing conversation. But because you can see no expression, they just look like they're taking a break at a fucking children's birthday party.
And it kind of annoys me in the MCU movies how often people unmask, like anytime, you know, and you know, their nanobot masks come off. But that is a necessity of acting, is like you want to be able to see the actor's face.
Well, and I think that you don't have to have the characters take off their mask, but if you're not gonna, then make it so that that the mask can move as they talk, so that you can still get that performance through. And that's and you not get any of that performance through with this. Right.
And if you have a full mask hero, you probably shouldn't have a full mask villain. Like somebody needs to have a fucking mouth. And Spider-Man's
for that
costume
reason
is just
why
tricky.
I like Willem Dafoe's performance in No Way Home better than I like it in this.
No, I've never seen it.
Yeah, you have.
Okay. Oh, wait, is that just like the after the colon part? Okay. Got it. I didn't know. It was another Spider-Man.
Spider-Man No Way Home. Yeah.
God, thank you. God, don't do it. Don't call it their nicknames. I'm just learning here.
Because wasn't exposed to any Spider-Man comics or anything else, my only understanding of the Green Goblin was this movie. So when I later learned that people didn't like the costume, I was like, what do you mean? That's what the costume looks like. He looks like a Power Ranger.
Yeah, I've never read any comics that the Green Goblin is in, but I know those criticisms. I don't really feel them myself. My only criticism is just that he doesn't feel threatening to me because of that costume.
No, I agree with you, and it's truly just a design thing. Like it can look equally ridiculous, but there needs to be you need to be able to get some personality from it for it not to just look like a giant toy.
With say with a character like Joker, you can make him look ridiculous.
Lacey just said he looks like Turbo Man from Jingle All the Way.
Take a character like the Joker. You can make him look ridiculous, and he's still threatening because because he's able to move his face and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean it is the fundamental thing is acting is primarily done with the face, and if you can't see the face, what are you gonna do? I still love I think Dafoe is so great, and he's able to break through that barrier. But it was smart in No Way Home to change the costume.
Yeah, it's the same costume actually. He just doesn't have the helmet, and that makes all the difference to me.
Is No Way Home the second one?
No Way Home is the one that has all three of the Spider-Mans in it.
Oh,
that's the one with Tobey Maguire and New Spider-Man and Middle Spider-Man.
Okay.
If you'd paid attention during my history segment, Lacey was complaining during the scene when the goblin attacks that in movies like this, you never see all the pee and poop on the floor from all the people who just got attacked.
He's got you high up in the air. You're hanging on shit. You definitely got to pee and poo.
Yeah.
No one ever pees or poos. It's not realistic.
No one ever pees or poos. So we get the scene with Dafoe where he's in the mirror and he's doing the dual personality thing. And this is I think really extraordinary acting because it is not cutting. Dafoe is just changing his face. Like it's not like eventually it gets to reverse shot of him cutting. But you will just see his face transform as he switches from Goblin to Norman and back again.
And you can tell that it's not cutting or anything because you can see from his face, even though you see it from the back, you can see he's making the same movements.
The ears are moving. Yeah, yeah.
This is where him now targeting Spider-Man is another thing I don't get. It seems like really fast for him to be like, Spider-Man, I hate that guy. I need to kill him. Or maybe he can be my best friend.
He's the only other person with powers. Why wouldn't he go after him? He seems like
really fast.
Like, whoa, slow down. You got to court this guy.
Okay, I mean, Lacey, there's people who say the Cold War was inevitable because the United States allied with the Soviet Union to win World War II. Of course they're going to turn on each other. They're the only ones left on the board. It's all you can do. So you raise a good point. It's sort of a realpolitik thing.
Well, I also don't really understand what the Green Goblin wants to do. Like, he just wants to kind of be a dick in New York, or he wants to kill all the board members.
Okay,
is that his whole thing? Or how much longer what are his ambitions?
That's the thing. That's I think my real
literally
complaint.
Just power.
But it's so unspecific.
I think he literally just wants power.
Because first he's getting revenge against the enemies of Norman Osborn, but then he's like, but wait, Spider-Man might stop me, so I got to go after Spider-Man. So his goals are so unspecific. I think that's a knock against it.
I feel like he's Nancy from The Craft. It's that she never thought invoking Mano would actually give her all the powers of Mano, but it does. And then 2 days later, she's bored as fuck, and she's just like, "Oh, good, someone tried to rape Bonnie or whatever the fuck her name is. So let's go kill that guy." Like, you're just, once you've got all these powers and shit you can do, you need a place where you can do it and a person to point it at. He's bored.
I hope you all know the events of the movie The Craft.
I'm sorry. Whatever. I'm sure there's a lot of crossover with this crowd. There is in this home.
And I hope that I hope that description does not make you want to watch The Craft. Because not to say I liked watching The Craft, but if someone decides that they want to watch it because if you say that there was a rape scene, they're a pretty fucked up person.
No,
I'm not here to sell it. Okay,
you're going on a list.
Right? Yeah.
If you responded to that, you're going on a list.
I'm just here to flex my knowledge of 90s cinema. I'm not here to push it or hawk it.
The Goblin kidnaps Spider-Man. He takes him somewhere to have this dumb conversation about how they need to team up. And his pitch is like, eventually Spider-Man, people are going to turn against you, which is true. They will.
That scene, there's, and I don't know if either of you were actually like paying attention to the specific dialogue, but I every time I watch it now, I'm not sure whether a mistake happened in the dialogue or if it was, or if Green Goblin actually was meant to mess up as he was talking, because there's a moment where he says, "Fail, fall,
die trying."
But the one thing they love more than a hero is to see a hero fail, fall, die trying.
And I don't know whether he's trying, whether that was supposed to be in character or if that was just Willem Dafoe messing up in the scene.
No, it's a weird delivery, but no, I think that it is written that way. Eventually, they want to see you fail, fall, die try. He says a third thing, but it's just a list of things. They're going to see you fail, fall, and poop yourself. Whatever it is he says.
We need more poo and pee, as we discussed. Yes, I do. It is interesting, and kind of refreshing how fast the action parts are of the movie. Like, they spend more time with the non-action, and I appreciate that. Like, every time the Green Goblin's around, it's for this just mercifully short period of time. Like, well, I gotta go.
Come on, be my friend. Come on.
I caused a fire in this house. All right, bye. Like, hey, I'm here for Thanksgiving. That girl's a slut. Bye.
But the most iconic moment from the movie is the upside down kiss after Spider-Man saves MJ from some street thugs. They have their upside down kiss with her extremely prominent bosom. And
gross, Matt.
And there's nothing that comes anywhere near the sexiness of this scene in any recent superhero movie. Like, they would be scandalized for them kissing like this because she peels down his mask you know?
Heck, they'd be scandalized to show this much titty.
Yes.
Bring back the titty.
But I was there in 2002. This was the scene everybody was talking about. This won like the MTV Movie Award. Like, this was the big thing from the movie.
Well, and then right after the movie, I gracefully went over to your chair and then I yanked you down and tried to make you upside down and kiss you. And it scared the shit out of you and you ended up on the floor.
Yeah, my vertigo kicked in.
Your legs up, dick down.
Yeah.
No kiss happened at all.
You should not try to do this, is what we're saying.
You have ankylosing spondylitis. Your neck doesn't bend that way.
Yeah.
I didn't have enough room between the recliner and the wall. Legs were pinned and not in a sexy way.
But seriously, the only sex scene in the entire MCU, in the Eternals, when those two people have sex, first they get legally married. When Gemma Chan and Richard Madden have sex, we literally have to watch their wedding ceremony to know that God approves. And then they go have sex, even though they're robots. And back then, we were just kissing each other with our boobs out. And it was cool, and everyone liked it. Bring it back. Bring it back.
I think he shoots tiny webs out of his mouth after the spider bite because, she loves that kiss. Is amazing. And then he kisses her again at a different point. And then it takes a moment, but then she grabs her mouth and goes, wait a fucking second.
Is this web?
Is that a little web? A little tiny Charlotte in my mouth? Mm-hmm. And then she pees and poops.
That's what happens. You got to look closely, but that's what happens.
That's how you know it's real love.
Spider-Man.
House on fire or something. What is this a picture of, Matt?
So the Green Goblin springs a trap for Spider-Man. He sets a house on fire. He goes and this woman's like, my baby. So he literally has to go save the baby. And then he comes back and the woman's like, there's another. It was like this. It's like The Simpsons with the baseball episode.
Another baby.
My player piano. And then the cop is about to arrest him. And he's like, okay, go up. I'll see you when you get back. My favorite line. I used to say this line with my friends because Spider-Man, he's like, I'll be waiting for you when you come back down here, Spider-Man. And he's like, I'm not coming back, Chief. Me and my friends used to say that to each other.
Which part?
I'm not coming back, Chief.
Okay, cool.
I don't know.
Cool friend group.
Yeah, we were.
I think that this movie has a lot of moments where it shows the reality of what it would be like if you had some random guy that had some powers. Every time something goes wrong in the neighborhood, you'd be like, oh, come on.
Yeah.
Is he on the shitter? Come on.
You're like Sonic waiting for the...
I know I bought 800 copies of that newspaper that said that maybe you were having sex with lots of school children, but come on.
Where's so graphic this episode, Lacey?
This episode?
Yeah.
And not others. Okay. Well, anyway, it's just like you love to hate him. You like to think things about him, but then your house is on fire and you're like, I hope he shows up.
Yes, this is the alliance between the superhero and the law enforcement. They're like, you can do what we can't. So go do it. But you're right. Yeah, they would just be like, anytime something happens, they're like, oh, shit. All right. We're going to just wait for Spider-Man to come.
Spider-Man's off day. Come on. Fuck him.
So he goes back into the building to rescue the player piano, but it's the Green Goblin. And he's like, so have you thought about our deal? Or are you in?
Is this the right place to talk about this? Green Goblin?
Are you in or are you out? And Tobey Maguire's worst line delivery of the movie. It's you who's out, Gobby. Out of your mind. Green Goblin slices his arm, but good. And then it's Thanksgiving. So they're having Thanksgiving dinner together. And they act like Aunt May and Norman Osborn act like they've known each other a long time.
Well, Matt, but time has passed by. They're not in high school anymore. They've lived together you can assume it's been like 2 years. How long do you need to know an old lady before you're nice to her, Matt? Okay. Everyone's not you.
It's not. This is the same year, but okay.
You have no proof that it's the same year. Time has gone by. He has not seen MJ since graduation. You can tell that there's been time.
Yeah, May to November. The Green Goblin, Norman Osborn comes in. He's like, sorry I'm late. Work was murder. And Peter's hiding up in his loft bedroom and bleeds on Norman. He sniffs it out. And then he sees the slash on Peter's arm and he figures it out. You are Spider-Man. I get it.
I only cut one person that way. And it's you. Also, there's just a really intense, interesting moment between Aunt May and, you can tell Norman is having a harder time keeping the goblin part down. And so she goes to reach for something and she slaps him. And he's like, oh, you stupid bitch. Oh, if this weren't right now, I would give you such a swirly.
Yeah.
Like he wants that. It's good. It's just some more good face acting.
No, yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, the goblin is taking over.
And he just kind of awkwardly recorrects his expression and it passes just enough. But man, is this a tense Thanksgiving. It's almost like the real thing. Ha, ha, ha.
The only thing that Norman carved that day was Peter's arm.
That's right. And up the relationship between his son and that lovely slut. Yeah, he got that one. I mean, well, yeah.
Your mother was beautiful too.
And you see what she wanted to do. Have a baby. Like, what did she do wrong? Where is she? Did she take half of your castle? That's why we only ever see the top half?
Yeah, she lives in the bottom half.
The bottom half's hers? Okay.
So?
All right. This is so... I find this to be a weird scene, but it's like... It's as little as they had to do to rough up this woman as they needed to. So now that he knows it's Peter Parker, he knows that he needs to target the people he loves. Who does he love? I don't know. Who was at Thanksgiving? Oh, yeah, that old lady. And so he fucking goes into her bedroom just like Nancy from The Craft. He busts through her little shutters and he just blows wind at her. Just like Nancy from The Craft is what I'm saying. And he scratches her little face and she's just so fucking freaked out. There's pee and poo everywhere, but they only show her tits up. So the next thing you see is her in the hospital and she's been taken to the hospital from fright.
She's been frightened into a coma.
Frightened. She's ever so frightened.
She says, this is another line my friends and I would always say when she's reciting the Lord's Prayer. She's like, because this is a British actress, so she says, doing an American accent, and forgive us our trespasses. So we'd always say, forgive us our trespasses. And then the Green Goblin scoops in and he's like, finish it! Deliver us from evil!
Oh, God. Yes. See, more prayers. This movie is The Craft, but for boys.
It kind of is.
So, yeah, she gets windy hair, and her hair usually looks very nice. So she must go to the hospital. She simply must.
MJ comes to visit Aunt May in the hospital, who's pretending to be in a coma, and she and MJ and Peter have a little moment.
She's never in a coma.
Okay, she's just pretending. She went night-night.
She went, yeah.
And MJ's like, sorry, I'm not in love with Harry. The fact is, I'm in love with someone else. And Peter's like, oh, yeah, Spider-Man. I talk to him all the time. She's like, does he ever mention me? He's like, well, yeah, he talks about you.
He said this really long, weird, specific thing that I told him. Now let me say it.
It's very good.
It's good.
I wrote down the whole thing. I won't deliver it, but he's, the great thing about MJ, when you look in her eyes, that's when you know. And she's really, Kirsten Dunst, great, one of my favorite actresses. Her reaction here is so good because you can tell as he is saying this to her in her face, she's like, oh, I love you, not Spider-Man.
Well, and like she's so moved. She makes space in her face for the slightest of movements and eye twitches that you feel the like movedness in her expanding, and it's a very kind of long thing he says because of the way he's framing it. Is I told my friend Spider-Man this. They're like, okay, this is too long. This is too long. This is too long.
And then Spider-Man told me that when the thing about MJ is, yeah.
Right. So, but that MJ has a way of normalizing Peter Parker's weirdness, and she does it in the museum. She does it just in her little like knowing looks. It's like she sees the sweet, earnest weirdo that he is and likes it, and she does it here too. And he makes her James Franco, what's this his fucking name? Henry. Harry makes her feel like trash, makes her feel like the class that she already thinks that she is, and makes her feel like she needs to hide and be better. And when Peter talks to her, he makes her feel like something she could have never imagined herself being. And that's why I think that you are my Peter Parker, because you also made me feel like I could be something different from what I was.
And you're my MJ.
Shut up, Matt. Don't make it uncomfortable.
We just need to kiss upside down.
I tried!
To make this real.
Maybe you go upside down. I stay normal.
I think that's going to be the promo video, right?
We need to get like a harness.
Yeah.
We're going to have to use a load-bearing beam to suspend you. Did I blow it out? Did I finally do it? Okay, sorry. I said the thing, Matt. I said the name of our podcast.
I love it. I keep asking you to work it in.
In the scene at the hospital, as James Franco walks in, they immediately stop holding hands, which I get. That is a cliche within these romance things, but I don't think in this situation it was needed. If I were James Franco at this moment, I would just assume she's comforting him
yes, I know.
because his aunt is in the hospital.
But that's that is why it's telling that they pull their hands apart, because that's not what's happening. Mm-hmm. It's like, ooh, I wish I were touching something else. His heart. I wish I were touching his heart. Okay. And now the goblin has kidnapped MJ. Oh, because Harry Osborn goes to his dad and he's like, God damn it, MJ, I broke up with her. I broomed her just like you told me, Dad. She's in love with Peter Parker. Dad, are you listening? Write this down. There's no one Peter Parker cares for more. And his dad's like, who are you talking? Because he's goblining out. He's zoning out. He's like, what? Who are you talking about? Mary Jane. Okay, I'll go get her.
Because he can't get access to the hospital? Like what? You just go back to Aunt May. She's 70 years old. All right, whatever.
There's no one he cares for more. So he kidnaps MJ.
Just happened to know there was a whole field trip of young school children aged people in a gondola at night. So this is perfect.
Taking a trip to Roosevelt Island.
At night.
Which I've heard it's just a neighborhood. I don't know what they're doing, but anyway.
They're throwing rocks down.
I've been to New York a few times. I've never ridden the Roosevelt Island gondola, but I would really like to, just to recreate this scene. So Green Goblin gives him a choice. You can save MJ or you can save these 50 children. And he does both.
He does both pretty easily too.
Pretty easily.
That's what I'm saying. Like they're just so short, these action sequences, and I love it for that.
I agree.
They all get tired fast.
And they're small scale and small stakes. It's I have to save a few people.
I love that.
That's why Spider-Man 2 also. It's like the stakes are just like local. Like
I like as well that they actually like focus more on the actual saving part and not just the fighting part.
Right. Exactly.
I think there's a lot of times with superhero films, they forget the aspect that superheroes are supposed to save people. Oh, they're not just supposed to fight the bad guy.
Right. Yes.
And I love that they actually show a lot of him actually particularly trying to save people, trying to get people out of harm's way.
And you know what? You're touching on something that really works for us too, for the original, for the X-Men movie, right? Because it's also small. And there's a big focus on the saving, like the part where they're getting all the children out of the school, you know, and I love the stakes of like, take care of what's in front of you.
Yeah.
You don't need to even save the state, just the city. That's just so nice.
Well, and because like his whole thing is like, if I'm capable of doing good, I need to do it. So a crucial part of that is we need to see it. We need to see what you're actually doing that's helping people. Mm-hmm. Okay, so and one of the iconic Spider-Man comics is the Green Goblin killing Gwen Stacy by dropping her down a long thing, and Spider-Man being unable to save her, and so this visually references that, but is able to stop both of them. But then the Green Goblin's like about to attack him or something, but then the people of New York start throwing debris at it.
I love it.
It's cheesy as hell, but it is awesome.
Fucking love. Where'd they even come from? They were so rowdy, and I didn't even hear them walk up. Everybody be real quiet.
Hey, what's the Green Goblin doing? Spider-Man, he's our best friend. Leave him alone. Hey.
Our nightly bridge walk. We brought all these pipes.
And then, of course, the guy's like, you mess with one of us, you mess with all of us.
And I love it. It totally works on me.
This is literally 9 months after 9/11. So the guy's literally, you attack Spider-Man, you attack New York. You attack one of us, you attack all of us.
We all.
And yes, I had fucking tears in my eyes when I was 14 watching this. It's like, I saw 9/11.
Okay.
All right. Well, they go off into an old fort or something. I think the action here, just the one-on-one combat, is really well directed because the blows have like real impact you can feel. Mm-hmm. And then finally, the Green Goblin, the Spider-Man defeats him. He overpowers him, and so Norman Osborn can place the only hand he has. He takes off his mask, and he's like, "Please, please, the Goblin's got me. You got to save me from the Goblin. I've been like a father to you. Be a son to me." And this again is my complaint. Like, I wish we had the sense that they actually felt like a deep connection to each other, that there might be, that he could reasonably say, "I've been like a father to you," but we have no evidence of that.
Yeah, or that it could like have a bigger impact on Spider-Man's like moral compass too, which it doesn't seem to.
But he has the great line, "I have a father. His name was Ben Parker." And then Dafoe's shoots his glider at him, but Spider-Man jumps out of the way, and Dafoe goes, "Ow." And he collapses.
Dafoe, ow.
Ow.
Oh no.
Peter, don't tell Harry.
Right. Everything's about shame and hiding shit with this damn family.
That's true. But Peter returns.
Well, the don't tell Harry is just a callback.
Yeah, no,
okay.
We're all about like massaging each other's egos by hiding uncomfortable information.
Well,
That's
and
what
how
that family
quickly
is.
it spreads because MJ says when she's in the diner outfit, "Don't tell Harry."
Yeah.
You know,
No,
it's
that's a
just
great
like,
point.
It only takes a couple months of like being around them before it just poisons shit. It
Yes.
Green Goblins it all up.
No, that's a good point.
Thanks.
Peter takes Norman Osborn back to his home and lays him to rest, and then Harry sees him and assumes Spider-Man killed his father.
He's like, "Why does my dad have such a big boner?" Rigor mortis.
Okay.
It wasn't anything weird. I'm
Okay.
just saying, it's a sexy, sexy silk robe that he's in. That's a coincidence.
So-
Nothing happened between them. I want to lay that to rest. Okay, go ahead.
So here's where we are. Harry's going to kill Spider-Man, and MJ tells Peter she loves him, but he declines because all he can offer her is friendship. Well, first, Harry, he says, "Thank God for you, Peter," just like his dad said. But yeah, Harry's mission in life is now to kill Spider-Man. And then Kirsten Dunst confesses to Peter, "I love you." And he's like, "I'll always be there for you as a friend, but I can't be your romantic partner right now." And you see the hurt on her face.
Yeah.
And
That was her ace in the hole, man. Do I feel that hurt?
There's a part of me with this scene that's like, yes, Peter absolutely should have reciprocated those feelings. It's dumb that he didn't, but at the same time, I'm like, it is a little weird that she just kissed him at the funeral for their friend's father,
Right.
and her boyfriend's father.
Well, they're at his uncle's gravestone now, so presumably they've left the funeral and gone to another part of the cemetery.
Who among us has not gotten massively turned on at a cemetery?
People behave weird at funerals. People, emotions are heightened. I think it's good. I think you should kiss.
Well,
at
and life and
cemeteries.
death makes you think of things you need to say.
Yeah.
Like, let me not have said this to you.
Yeah.
Then she feels her mouth because the little web got shot in there.
Well, she realizes. But this is a half measure because Peter's like, "Hey, I care about you so much. I'll be your friend. But if you're my girlfriend, my enemies could use you against me."
Right, but if you're my only friend in life,
and the woman who I clearly am in love with and devoted to, then they're fine. Like, what you actually need to do is cut her off totally, which is what happens at the end of the most recent Spider-Man.
What?
With Zendaya. He says, like, I'm not going to tell her that she actually knows me and had her memory erased or whatever. But then in the narration, and the reason it ends with the movie with him saying, "Who am I? I'm Spider-Man," it's because the choice he has made here is like, he can't, there's something Peter Parker wants, but he has to suppress that because he has the ability to do good in the world as Spider-Man, even if it hurts Peter Parker. And this is in contrast to Batman, or but Batman in specific. In the Tim Burton Batman has this line, "I am Bruce Wayne," or "I am Batman, not because I choose to be, but because I have to be." And all the Batman movies have made the observation, Bruce Wayne is the mask, Batman is the real guy. But with Spider-Man, Peter Parker is the real guy, but every day he has to make the choice to hurt Peter Parker to be Spider-Man. And that's why I find him such a compelling character, because he's always he always has to keep making that choice to not be a happy person in order to do good in the world.
But he's also kind of a martyr because it's like, who fucking asked you? Like, I mean, a random spider bit you. Just go tell the museum that if they have the spider bite other people, you'll make some Superman. Why do you have to be it? He's so guilt-ridden because of his uncle that he feels like he has to just keep making this choice and not ever be happy. Like, that's the girl of your dreams. Just stop climbing up walls, Peter.
That's in the next movie. They literally interrogate that, and he literally decides to stop being Spider-Man.
Oh.
But the moral dilemma then is, I see bad things happening in front of me that I could stop, and by not acting, I am kind of complicit in allowing them to happen.
Go make another Spider-Man. They got fucking 14 spiders.
I mean, go find that spider. That's a good point. What happened to that spider? Who else is it biting?
Yes, that's how you do make the multiverse. That thing just kept biting. I figured it out.
John, does Peter Parker have a moral obligation to help the world, or should he just be with MJ?
I think he can be both.
Yeah.
To be honest, I don't think that being a hero should mean that you don't have to have a life as well. And I'm also kind of the opinion of, I want some Spider-Man films where he is just happy the whole time. I'm like, we've had so many films of him being sad, and I'm just like, I want to see him just be happy for once. But I don't know. I get that there's that makes him compelling, but I'm just like, I think it'd be a nice change having a whole Spider-Man film where the entire time he's happy.
Well, and how about just give MJ some fucking agency? How about why don't you trust what she would like to do? Just tell her who you are and the things that are at stake. She's already got great examples of her life being in danger because of it. Just let her connect the fucking tell her. Tell her why you're scared.
And that's going to help her to be able to protect herself. Because if you don't know there's these threats coming, that you can't protect yourself.
That's literally what happens in Spider-Man 2. That's how the movie ends. She finds out he's Spider-Man. She comes to him and she's like, sorry, it's not your choice. I choose to be with you.
Right.
And in the course of that movie, like his powers stop working, and it's a metaphor of for depression. He's not taking care of himself. He's not letting himself be happy and giving himself what he needs. And then his powers start failing him. Mm-hmm. And so only when he embraces that he needs to also be a human, he needs to be with MJ, then things start working again for him. And that's why I love that movie.
Okay. Glad I wrote that movie.
Yeah.
All right.